The weather alert arrives like any other. Scientists are calling it historic. Possibly the strongest El Niño in recorded history is forming right now over the Pacific. You look out your window. Nothing looks wrong. That's what makes this so hard to explain. Something has been shifting for years. The summer that arrives earlier than you remember. The spring that's quieter than it should be. The way the light comes in during October, and something about it is off, not dramatically, just enough that you notice. The birds that used to come in April at a certain time. The smell of a season arriving the way it always did. These things have changed. Not all at once, slowly. In ways that are nearly impossible to prove to anyone who wasn't paying attention. But you were paying attention. And something in you knows the difference. That feeling is real. It has a name. And once you know it, you cannot unknow it. Think about the place you grew up in. Not the people, the place. The exact quality of the light in late afternoon. The sound of rain on a specific roof. The smell of early spring arriving in a particular way. You did not choose to love those things. They became part of how your body understands being alive. A geographer named Yi-Fu Tuan studied this in 1974. He called it Topophilia, the love of place. Not a preference, something deeper. A place can become so woven into who you are that losing it feels like losing a piece of yourself. You do not merely live in a place. A place lives inside you. So what happens when that place does not disappear? It just slowly, quietly becomes something else. In the early 2000s, a philosopher named Glenn Albrecht was interviewing farming families in Australia's Upper Hunter Valley. Coal mining had expanded into the region. He expected to hear about dust and noise and money. Instead, the families described grief. They talked about watching ridgelines disappear beneath earthworks, about rivers running the wrong color after rain, about a silence settling over fields that used to be full of insects and birds, about children asking questions nobody could answer. These were people who had not left. They were still standing on the same land their grandparents had farmed for generations, but the land was no longer the same. Albrecht searched for a word that could hold what he was hearing. There was not one. So he built it himself, reaching back into two ancient languages. Latin, solacium, comfort. Greek, algos, pain. Solastalgia, the distress caused by the change of your home environment while you are still living in it. He first used the term in 2003, published the research in 2007. The word has been spreading through environmental psychology ever since, because it named something millions of people were already living with, but could not say out loud. But naming it only works if you understand what kind of grief it actually is. Because this one behaves differently from anything you have been taught to grieve. When someone dies, there is a moment, a before and an after. Loss has a shape, grief has a beginning. As devastating as it is, you know what is gone. When a place changes, there is no such moment. The river is still there, just running differently. The summer is still there, just arriving 3 weeks earlier, lasting 3 weeks longer. Your neighborhood is still there, just quieter now. The insects that used to fill late August somehow not filling it anymore, without announcement, without goodbye. You cannot grieve it cleanly. It is not dead. It is changing in real time, while you are living inside it. And the cruelest part, the place that is changing is also the place you would normally go to recover. When life gets hard, you go home, you go outside, you return to what feels stable. But if the home itself is the source of the loss, where do you go? Here is a number that should stop you. Researchers at the University of Maryland published a climate mapping study in 2023. By 2080, they found, the average American city will experience a climate that today exists roughly 1,000 kilometers to its south. Minneapolis will feel like Kansas City. Boston will feel like Northern Virginia. Portland will feel like the Sacramento Valley. Not in 300 years, in the lifetimes of people who are alive right now. People will watch their home become a different place without moving a single step. That is what is happening to the land. Here is what it is doing to the people living on it. A 2020 survey by the American Psychological Association of over 2,000 adults found 68% already experiencing eco-anxiety, a persistent, low-grade dread about what is coming. But dread faces forward. Solastalgia is already here. It is the grief for what is already going, right now, in front of you. It is in mountain towns where the snow season has shortened by weeks and the economy built around it is quietly dying. In coastal neighborhoods where flooding went from once a decade to something you plan for every year. In farming communities, watching rainfall patterns shift in ways that break systems their grandparents built. In cities where summers now exceed what felt survivable even 20 years ago. It is not rare. It is not dramatic. It is everywhere. Most people are living inside it right now, without a word for what it is. And that is exactly what makes it dangerous. When grief has no name, it turns inward. You stand at your window watching the season arrive wrong, and you think, why does this bother me so much? Other people seem fine. Maybe I care too much. Maybe something is wrong with me. Solastalgia is not a character flaw. It is a documented psychological response to a real, documented loss. The researchers who study bereavement study it. The same therapeutic frameworks apply. Communities that are given language for what they are experiencing cope measurably better. They stop assuming the problem is inside them. They start seeing what is actually happening around them. Naming something changes its shape. The feeling stops being a private failure. It becomes a human response to something that is genuinely hard. And if it is human, it was never only yours. You were never the only one standing at a window feeling this. Millions of people are standing at their own windows right now, watching the same slow change, carrying the same unnamed weight. The weather alert is still on your phone. Strongest in recorded history, scientists say. You look out your window. The sky is the same sky it has always been. And it is not the same. Now you have the word for the feeling that rises when you notice. Solastalgia. The grief of watching a place change while you are still in it. You did not leave. That is the whole thing. You stayed.